Joss, and welcome to 103 Politics on KT 103.9 FM, the voice of truth. My name is Talk Morgan. The creative industry is one industry that many believe will create a lot of jobs aside the entertainment that it provides for teeming citizens. And on the plateau, so much questions have been asked as to what is happening to the creative industry, particularly the movie industry. How do we develop this industry that was once based here on the plateau? Where do we start from? Who are the key players? What are the ingredients that we need to put this, beautiful meal together? Well, this morning to have this conversation, I am being joined in by Henry Pwajok Lodam. He is the CEO, KECK Film Academy, a film institute and film production company in Abuja. He was the MD Web Media Technical Director of the Summit on AIT. He was also the head of production at TSTV Africa, Abuja, and the director of programs, Nigerian Customs Broadcasting Network. Henry Lodam has trained staff of the American Embassy, among many others, and his last training was 100 professionals sent from the National Directorate of Employment, Abuja, on behalf of the Wonderman Entertainment. He's currently shooting a television series in Jos titled Stand By Me, among other things. He was also a senatorial candidate in the 2019 general election under the platform of the ABP, and has been part of many civil rights movements in Abuja for years, including the struggle for youth inclusiveness in governance tagged Not Too Young to Run, a bill that is now a law. This morning, I have Henry in the studio. Good morning and good to have you.
Good morning, Blonde Talk Morgan, and good morning, Plateau Status. Nice to be back home.
Yeah, good to have you. The last time we had you here was in 2019 when you were canvassing for votes to become the senator. And since then, what has been happening?
Yes, I went back to Abuja, and that was when I was called upon to build the studios for the television for the Nigeria Customs Broadcasting Network, and they insisted that I stay back to direct programs, and that was what I've been doing. And after a while of doing that, I had to leave them and start my own film training institute, which is KECK Film Academy, and also it's a production company. And then also at some point I delved into back into television again with 84 TV as the head of station, and then I had to come back to my love.
Okay, now we will certainly talk about this love. Plateau State is one state that has produced a lot of filmmakers, having the film institute here in Jos, but not much is heard about the state when it comes to her own let's say local film industry. Now, how would you describe the journey so far before we begin to ask why we're not thriving so well in this particular industry?
Well, the movie industry, I would say, started in Jos, and there are more talented people that were produced from Plateau State than anywhere else in Nigeria, except Lagos anyway. And also most of those TV series back in the day, like Cockroach at Dawn, they started in Jos. We have this, in fact, even in my house, some scenes were shot of one of the TV series, Behind the Clouds.
Behind the Clouds,
yes. Okay. And back in the day, because we were neighbors with the NTA quarters back at Ito Baba side.
Okay.
So we were privileged to, witness production going on at that tender age. So the film industry on the plateau, was actually taken away from the plateau to Lagos. If you notice, entertainment has been shifting from Jos to Lagos. We have a lot of talented people, especially musicians, who have moved from here to Lagos. Now, at some point, there were some productions that came back to Jos, like Riddles and Hopes. Yes, we have a couple of them quite alright, but then
after school hours
and all of that. But then, yes, like I said, they've all been shifting away from Jos, and one of the causes is because the Jos is too calm for it, I should put it that way, and also the crisis that erupted the state from 2001, September 7th. and all of that. So a lot of people were a little scared. Even when I started production, one or two people were asking me, is it safe for me to come to Jos? I said, it's safe. And they came and they discovered that the place is very safe, actually. But if you look at Jos, the weather is superb, it's perfect for production. Sometimes we use very hot lights and your makeup starts melting and all of that in Lagos and in Abuja, because I've shot in all those places. And when in Jos, the weather is so beautiful. You do makeup once and then you shoot throughout the day. And then also you won't be sweating even if there's no AC. And sometimes we need the AC to be off because of sound. When you record in sound, you don't want any noise in the environment. So Jos is the best place to shoot. And also the environment is perfect. You don't have the environments like Sherry Hills in Lagos. So if you want to do a war film, you can do it anywhere else. It has to be in Jos. If you want to do any action movie, this is the best place for it. Also, we have talented people here. In fact, when I came here, I told myself I'm not coming with any crew from Abuja, because my company is based in Abuja.
Okay.
I came here and I said I want this production to be owned by Plateau people 100%. And so I formed a team here, and they actually wowed me. The crew I found in Jos wowed me. So there's so much talent here. Besides, the film industry, the Film Institute is here. So there are so many people who are already talented, and they came in from everywhere else, studied in Jos, and they decided to stay back. The TV College is here, National Film Institute is here, Nigerian Film Corporation is here,
also here.
So I mean, this is the best place actually to have the film industry.
All right, so let's talk about building talent within the city. There are arguments that one of the reasons why we don't get to have these people stay around is because not much talent is found, even though you've said there's much talent here. So where is the gap?
When you start looking for talent in Jos, you will find them. Because when I came to Jos last year to start production on Stand By Me, I carried out an audition in Jos. It was even an online audition.
Interesting.
And a lot of people applied. A lot of people were very good. We were even confused at the point who to pick, who not to pick. And then there were other people who sent in cast from all over the places in Jos, and we tested them. They were perfect. So if you look for talent in Jos, you will find. That's the truth. And one other issue is the fact that because of the lukewarmness in the industry, you find that a lot of the talents prefer to go out, and so many of them have been traveling and coming back. So, but the talent is here, and that's not where the issue is. It's not the talent, it's the investment.
So now this brings us to the question of investments by who? Is it through government policies, or having investors, private investors come from around the world?
Both. Because whether we like it or not, Nollywood is not Hollywood. Yeah, Hollywood is huge. Pre-COVID, Hollywood has contributed over $500 billion to the American economy, and Hollywood has produced lots of independent investors. There's a building, and there are agents of investors, venture capitalists, people who are looking for a good script to invest into. And there are marketers ready. There are distribution companies like Warner Bros, Universal Pictures, waiting for your movie to be produced so that they can distribute it. There are 1,000 cinemas ready to show your movie. That's why films like Wakanda Forever would come out first week. They have recouped their money 10 times over. And so there's so much investment that has taken place from the government over the centuries. And then also there are individuals who are investing now. They are building from where the government stopped. Okay. So here we have an industry called Nollywood that was built completely by the private sector. Completely. And Nollywood alone adds over $2 billion to the Nigerian economy every year. And we're talking about 900 billion naira. And so, and above. And so, the same thing with the music industry. These are not supported by the government. We've built our production, we've built our distribution channels, we've built everything from start to finish without the support of the government. And I believe that we've reached the point where the government needs to come in. Imagine we having sound stages, we having studios built. Let me take an example from Tyler Perry's studio. he spent over $500 million of his own money to build the studio, right? So which director or producer or actor in Nigeria has access to $500 million to build a studio? It's a huge amount of money. So we need support from the government, apart from production of programs, apart from production of movies, apart from sponsoring films. I think that we need to create a conducive environment for the industry to thrive. Yeah, I've heard that the government of Akwa Ibom has built a film studio or a film village, like they would like.
I was going to come to that, because you just made a mention of government needs to invest, and before somebody invests in a particular project, he or she must understand what accrues to him in the end of the entire venture. And why should government now come into it? What would be the benefits to government, and where are the benefits going to reduce let's say burden of catering for the people on government? You respond to this when we return from this commercial break. It is 16 minutes into the hour of 9 o'clock, KT 103.9 FM. Stay with us.
A leader indeed. He is a rallying point for unity. He promotes security. He wants to see prosperity. Prosperity of the people of Plateau State. That leader is Barrister Caleb Mutfwang. Mutfwang is tested. You can trust him to serve Plateau. He knows the plight of Plateau. He has the plans to make a greater Plateau. The time is now. Vote Mutfwang for governor. Vote Honorable Josephine Pio as Deputy Governor of Plateau State. Mutfwang Pio. Leaders for Plateau, because the time is now. This message is from the Directorate of Media and Publicity, Atiku Okowa Mutfwang Pio Campaign Council, Plateau State.
As Nigeria prepares for the general elections holding from 25th February 2023, broadcasters are enjoined to make ethical reportage their watchword. All political programs shall observe the provisions of the Nigeria Broadcasting Code and other extant laws relating to broadcasting. All broadcasting stations must adhere to the principles of pluralism and ensure equitable airtime to all political parties or views. All political programs shall adhere to the general principles of legality, decency, and truthfulness. For the avoidance of doubt, the broadcast of a political campaign, jingle, announcement, or any other form of partisan party identification or symbol ends not later than 24 hours before polling day. Hate speech is prohibited. Be professional. NBC, your right to quality broadcasting. Announcer Management.
The Morning Edition. The Morning Edition. The Morning Edition.
All right, welcome back to 103 Politics on KT 103.9 FM. I am Talk Morgan. It is 19 minutes into the hour of 9 o'clock. I still have with me in the studio Henry Pajak Lodam, and we are talking development of firms, particularly here on the Plateau. Now, before we went on that break, you were trying to give us an insight into what should happen to the filming industry, particularly here on the Plateau. And the question I asked then is, why do you think government will need to invest in this film industry?
Thank you very much for that question. As to why, the film industry is one of the greatest employers of labor in Nigeria. After the agricultural sector, the film industry is the highest employer of labor in Nigeria, because it has employed over 1 million people, and it is projected to employ over 2.7 more million people by 2025.
Interesting.
And this tells you that it is actually a potential game changer in the economy. Also, the film industry adds over $2 billion to the economy every year. And this tells you that it is an important industry. I remember back during the Obasanjo regime, it was when the proceeds from the film industry were added into the GDP that Nigeria became the largest economy in Africa. Now, the film industry has been underestimated or underrated by government. I remember there was a time when the government of President Goodluck Jonathan made a promise that there would be an investment of, was it 25 billion
into Nollywood?
Into Nollywood,
yeah.
But we didn't see that. But if that had, come true, then we would realize a lot more than we are realizing today from the film industry. Now, the film industry is highly productive in Nigeria today. We have had the opportunity of having our movies on Netflix, and I remember that there was a movie done by Genevieve, and I think the title is Lionheart.
Yes, Lionheart.
That Netflix paid a whopping sum of 3.8 million naira to purchase that movie, and so that's a lot of money. So now there's so much investment now in film production. And also it is because of the realization that it is a potentially economically viable industry.
Yeah, because my next question was going to be, how sustainable is this particular industry? Because you hear, okay, we just download free, we do this free of charge and that. Then how sustainable do you think it's going to be?
It's not exactly free anymore, because right now there's so much that the government has done regarding piracy.
Okay.
Aside that, right now movies have online cinemas where movies are released and you have to pay a token to have access to them. So the distribution channels management has been affected to such a point that right now we're seeing proceeds from the industry. Like if I have a production right now, I have the option of taking it to a TV station or a satellite station like Africa Magic, or I can take it to Netflix and online online cinema to sell. I can take it to YouTube, and the more viewers view, the more money I make.
Yeah.
And so there are so many platforms that can generate revenue for every film production today. So the industry is very promising. It is rewarding. There's profit. It is a good investment.
Okay.
And right now, people are reaping the benefits. It is feeding more than 1 million people in Nigeria.
Interesting.
If I remember one of the actors I called from Lagos, who has been a friend of mine, we acted together 10 years ago. I was his partner in a movie. And I called him and I said, as a friend, come and act for me. He said, for me to come to Jos, Mr. Henry, I have to tell you the truth. My price is 4.2 million.
Whoa.
For 6 days. I said, for 6 days, you're charging me as a friend 4.2 million. Now, what job gives you 4.2 million in 6 days? That's how viable the industry is. So there are so many phases of the industry that we've not looked at. Like, we're talking about the Tyler Perry studio, which is actually, to me, one of the biggest things that has happened to the film industry in the world. Now, he has about 12 sound stages. Each sound stage is hired for over $10 million. $10 million per production. So imagine we have that here. How much is $10 million in Naira? So that's a lot of money just to rent the studio and use. Imagine that we have something like that here. Imagine that we have the production equipment here, and we have some very cheap accommodation here. We make the environment very conducive for filmmakers to come. What I'm looking at is a government that can be disruptive in its approach, because the goal actually is to take over the film industry from Lagos and to bring it back here. And when I discussed some of those ideas with some of the cast that came around this, they were excited about it. We have the environment. Imagine you pick one of those hills in Plateau State, from Kwampan to Pangshin to Shandam or to Mango to Barkin Ladi, and you build Nollywood, and one of the alphabets will be the size of a truck, and you put it up there. You've already sold Jos to them as the home of Nollywood. because it doesn't exist anywhere else.
Very well.
They don't have anywhere else to have that happen. Then you now have, a film village in Jos where they can come and shoot and stay. And you have a replica of the presidential villa for those who have scripts that involves presidency. And you have a replica of the Lodam barracks, the former presidential villa for those who want to shoot period pieces of back in the day. And you have all of those very important buildings, there that are built cheaply from cheap material. And you have all the props they need, If you have some of those things here, it will attract the industry here. Everybody will be rushing to Jos to shoot. Find one of those old capsules, broken plane, repaint it, do the interior and keep it there. Even music videos, every week they will be trooping into Jos. The airport will become busier to come and shoot here because all that they're looking for will be found here. So if you can make the place conducive, if you can present the Lagos community with what they are looking for, they would move here. Lagos is choked up and everybody is looking for space. And then the sound stages I'm talking about, none exist in Nigeria so far. Wow. We just make shift. We find a church that is large enough and we turn it into a studio. Or we find a building that is large enough and beg, because the environment too has to be welcoming to Nollywood.
True.
So if we can build that, we will shift the movie industry from Lagos to Jos.
Now, for a government to be able to invest in this, what does it take?
It should be
It
should be a public-private partnership.
Okay.
You should present parks to them. You should present incentives to them. Those who want to invest here. First of all, take your drone round. Video all the places where the studios can be built. Take the footages and the proposal to some of these people and say this is the environment, and then the government is ready to partner with you, and you can take over this percentage, you can do this and that. And then also the government should show a level of seriousness by funding maybe 10%. Okay. This is a partnership.
Okay.
Provide the land, provide the environment, and then provide the enabling laws and regulations and make the environment film friendly. And this will make almost 1 million young people in Plateau State busy, because it's not just acting that is available in the film industry.
Okay.
We have props managers, we have costume designers, we have transport and logistics, we have welfare, because a lot of restaurants will start coming there because all the actors eat every day.
They will need to eat.
They will need to eat and all of that. So, and of course, the
hoteliers too will have a boost in their business.
Exactly. So, and transportation to be boosted, because a lot of people will be flying into Jos every now and then, and so it's a very, very wide industry, and so there's so much to gain if proper investment is put on ground into the industry.
There's this fear of one introducing this kind of business into a society that is known to be too religious, and this issue of morality and immorality that has dominated the movie industry. How do you deal with this fear for someone who is listening to you right now and is saying, oh, my son says he wants to be an actor, and I have seen how actors go wayward?
Have you seen any of the series in what do you call this channel, Z World? Have you seen the level of morality in Z World? There are so many productions. Every production, there are different genres of production in the industry, and you can decide not to take a script if it doesn't tally with your religious beliefs. Apart from that, the film industry is not an immoral industry. It is an important information machine. Whether you like it or not, there are different facets of society that are interpreted in the film industry. What the film industry does is just to open your eyes to what is happening. And so when you look at our industry, I don't think our industry is immoral. I don't think that everybody...
But we've heard cases just like it is said with sex for marks. We've heard cases of sex for roles. And these are some of the issues that, begin to raise concerns about the movie industry.
Talk Morgan, it's everywhere. There are people that will tell you today that you should bring your CV. And when you go to visit them, it's a different thing. It's everywhere. And the film industry is not I wouldn't say there are saints all over the industry or everywhere else, but I can tell you for a fact that I have been on different sets that are decent, so many sets that are very decent. So you cannot use a little fraction of the industry to define the entire industry. And you can go and ask all the actors that came to act for me, the female actors, no one has made any advances on them.
Okay.
Because I ensured that.
Interesting. If you are just joining us, this is 103 Politics on KT 103.9 FM. It is exactly half past the hour, 9 o'clock. You can be a part of the show by joining us on 08061665120. That is for SMS. 08061665120. You can also call the number 08139 04737. 08139 04737. Now let's talk about you. You made mention earlier in your opening that you've been able to train. Let's talk about how it has been so far, training young people into the movie industry, and how it has been.
Well, the training we do as a film academy is basically let me call it a holistic training in cinematography, acting, directing, non-linear editing, and animations. And we do that to companies, we do that to organizations and their staff.
Okay.
We have trained staff of the American Embassy. We've trained, like you mentioned earlier on, 100 people sent to us by the National Directorate of Employment. We've trained staff of some of the organizations we've worked for, like TSTV Africa. We've trained staff of the Nigeria Customs Broadcasting Network, and so on and so forth. And currently we have been approached by INKREDIBLE IDEAS, a company based in Abuja that is now at Langtang. They have invited us to partner with them to train 100 youths in Langtang. 100 youths in Langtang. And this would be sponsored by Ubanduma. So we're getting ready to load our trucks with our gear and move to Langtang to start training young people there. And we are also organizing the training after our shoot for just North, just South.
Okay.
So this would also position people in the industry, and we are also trying to inculcate in them the culture in the industry. Aside that, we would train people outside what we usually train, like film business, because some of us have been in the industry for long before realizing that it's a business. We were in it for the joy in it,
for
the
fame.
fun, yes, for the hobby, and it was fun. But then it's a business. So the film business aspect of it, the legal aspects of the film industry, you have copyright issues, you have a lot of things that have to do with taxes and the rest. All of these things have to come in play in part of our trainings. And also we are trying to train different sectors in the film industry, like costume designing, set designing, props management, and all of that. So there are different people will be positioned to take over the industry from Lagos. In Lagos State, there are people already for these things. I'm sure that there are people who have been trained for so many things by the National Film Institute here already, and some of them are already on my set. But like I said, the industry is set to employ 2.7 million more people by 2025. And these people have to be ready. We have to prepare them. We have to prepare JOS to give JOS an advantage so that when the employment comes in, it will be from JOS.
Now, you talked about this support. The Langtang event is being supported by an individual. I am happy it's actually, being supported by someone, not you putting in your resources. Now, for the fact that this is a venture that is youth driven, and we've seen government come in and out, it is believed that government does not really bother about things like this. Now, what's your take on this?
Well, I'm happy that Ubandoma has been the chairman of Langtang North, and he's the only PDP chairman so far. He has shown so much interest in the young people and has shown so much passion in supporting the industry, and we're very happy to have someone like him play that role. And I think earlier in the year, I was in Langtang to unveil one of those adventures.
Okay.
I was on stage with people who represented him. And in Jos here, when we came last year to begin our production, we were looking for investment because we didn't have enough resources to carry on the production of Stand By Me.
Yeah.
And so we ventured out to seek for support, and we were happy that when we met the Mutfwang campaign team, one of the key people in the team, Mr. Jato, told us about his plans for the industry. We were shocked. We were blown apart. I mean, he was really the plan, the roadmap was beautiful, and then the blueprint was perfect. We were happy with it. When he saw our proposal, he said, "This is exactly what His Excellency is looking for," and that is the PDP gubernatorial candidate, Barrister Caleb Mutfwang. And he said we should meet with him. And I remember that it was only 4 days after that meeting that we saw a lad in our corporate account to support us.
Wow.
And I can tell you it is in millions of naira. We were so happy, and this goes to show that, you know, he's not just a talker, he's a doer. And it expresses to us his passion to build the film industry in the Plateau and to support young people and young initiatives like this.